What's going on, everybody? I'm going to try to make a quick video before work. It's 2:20 in the afternoon, Thursday the 22nd. Beautiful 53 degrees outside. In 2 days or so, we're supposed to get a bunch of snow and ice. Crazy how the weather's been. And the main point of this video I want to talk about is something that I use in every aspect of my life, not just preparedness. And it's the how to do stuff, the how. You write it on a piece of paper. But before that, I want to bring up something that I see every winter, every hurricane season, anytime there's an emergency. And it's always the pictures of the stores that are picked clean. Everything's missing. People panic buy when there's an emergency because they're not prepared. You know, when the winter hits, you should have been preparing for winter over the summer. And you should be preparing for the summer months right now. That makes sense. And I don't understand why people don't do that. If you prepare for the wintertime in the summer, you won't have as much competition. Things will be cheaper. They'll be on sale because stores don't have room for it. It happens every year, back and forth. People panic buy for this or they panic buy for that. Look at the pandemic. People panic bought for that. You should have been prepared for these type of things. If you're a prepper or, just a smart person in general, and, in the Bible it talks about preparing for the lean months. Like, it happens every year, and we have goldfish mindsets of forgetting that it snows every year or that it's hot during the summertime. So prepare before bad things happen. That way you're not stuck in lines that are, 50 people sitting in line waiting to get some gas or some water. A funny thing was during the pandemic, everything was gone in the stores except for Dasani water. I hate that water; it's so gross. And I was laughing about it then, and I saw a picture last night. The same thing. Somebody posted a picture of their local grocery store, and everything was picked clean, but you could still see the sandy water sitting there. I don't know how they stay in business. That the water is so disgusting, and it made me laugh. End of the world, apocalypse, snowstorms. Nobody wants to drink the sandy water. That made me laugh. Anyway, prepare for things before they happen, and you won't be stuck in lines with other stupid people that don't know how to prepare for life. Other than that, what I wanted to talk to everybody about, what I wanted to bring up, and maybe it could help you in other aspects of your life, is not the why you do something, but the how you do it. And what I mean by that is, so I used to have not a journal, but a notebook I would write in things that I wanted to accomplish. And I would write the why I wanted to do it. Like, I want to prepare for a certain scenario, whatever you are preparing for, right? And then you write down why you want to. Why I want to protect my family, and I want to stay safe, and I want to stay alive, and I want to just in general have a well-being when the world ends. Then you need to write in there how you're going to do it. And what that does is it breaks everything down. And that's what you need to do, is break every aspect of your preparedness down. I want to prepare for a nuclear winter. Okay, how do you do that? And you start writing down things. Well, I need to have clean air. Okay, how do you have clean air? Well, I need to build some kind of filtration device in my house or buy one. Okay, how do you do that? You either buy it or you make it. How do you keep bad air from coming in? You put plastic up on your windows. How do you put the plastic up on your windows to make sure it's secure? How do you have clean air? You buy a gas mask. How do you do that? You go to the store. I need this much amount of money to buy it. How do you get that money? Literally everything. That's why the federal government, I wouldn't say they're good, but they're really good at handling scenarios for themselves, because they break down everything. Every single scenario that you could imagine, they have some kind of game plan for it, and they break it down to how it's going to be done, how this person is going to operate, how that person is going to operate, how things are going to go. That is the mindset that you have to have for preparedness, or just anything in general in your life. How to become a millionaire. You know why you want to become a millionaire, so you can live a decent life. You can go on trips and you can do whatever with your family. But how do you get there? And you need to write it backwards. I want to grow food because I enjoy growing food. I enjoy having a garden. Above that, I enjoy eating when there's no food in the store. And how do I do that? Well, I need to make a garden. Okay, how do I do that? How do I test the soil? And I always try to break it down to not using electricity as much as possible, just in case there's an EMP or there's, no power. Just like everything that I buy, my appliances, like I try to find like old egg beater, the ones that you turn with your hand, or my coffee grinder is a hand cranked one. And I have electric ones as well, but I have the backups and I use them every once in a while to see how the quality is. And, you buy a bad one and it breaks, you figure out, okay, that one is dog shit, let's buy a new one, a better one. And it's worth paying extra money for better supplies. You don't want to buy a $15 knife off of Amazon that is not going to stay sharp and it's going to break. You need to invest in your quality products, I guess. But break down the how of how everything is going to work. You're going to have trash build up in your house, on your property. How are you going to deal with that when there is no trash pickup? We have that every once in a while where the trash pickup gets missed for a snowstorm. They'll pick it up next week. How are you going to deal with 2 weeks of trash? In a grit down scenario, how are you going to deal with a month's worth of trash on your property? How are you going to deal with using the bathroom? Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to clean yourself? You need to break down every aspect and be micro as possible to make sure you don't miss anything. And it sounds very OCD, but not really, considering, like, say you want to make a cake, right? You have most of the ingredients, but if you forget one ingredient, one very crucial, important ingredient, like the eggs or something, your cake is not going to turn out the way you want it to. It's the same thing with preparedness. You need to make sure you have every little tiny thing that you can think of that you might need and write it down, and then write down, will I need this and how will it help me? If I want a garden, do I need a tiller? How do I get a tiller? Okay, I don't really need a tiller. There's these things, the broad forks. You can use one of those. Well, how do I get one of those? Well, you can build one of those really easy if you have a welder and some rebar. There's ways to get around the electrical part of things, or the gas-powered part. You have a generator. I need fuel. What happens if you don't have any fuel? How do you get more fuel? Okay, well, I can go solar. What happens if the sun's not out for a couple days? You can generate your own electricity. How? As I think I said this before, I was watching a guy, I'm trying to learn how to build a gasifier to burn wood to convert that into fuel. And people make fuel all the time. They create ways to produce electricity all the time. That there's ways to go around not having electricity. There's ways to go about things, doing it mechanically, doing the work yourself. You need to break down everything onto how you're going to get it done, not the why. We know why we do it. We know why we prepare. We know why we have a 401k, why we save for the future, why we take this road instead of that road. But you need to have alternative plans, and you need to know how you're going to get somewhere. You see a destination, how are you getting there? Obviously, you want to go to Disneyland. That's why you want to go down the road. How are you getting there? What happens if that road is blocked? What happens if you run out of gas? How are you going to fix the problems that arise? And you need to really think about real life scenarios, not aliens coming down, when the grid goes down. That's unrealistic. Think of normal things that happen every day to people, things that you see on the news, things that have happened to you, and write down how you're going to overcome these scenarios. You'll be a lot better off, not just in preparedness, but your life in general. That's my spiel for today, I guess. Write down how you're going to do stuff, the scenarios that you think are going to happen. Try to write down everything that you think might happen and write down how you're going to overcome that scenario. And then work backwards from there. It's pretty easy once you start writing it down and seeing it. I'm a very visual person. You can tell me something, I won't really understand it, but if I draw it or I write it down and I can see it and visualize it, it helps me out a lot. It may help you out in your life too, who knows? That's what I'm going for, is to help somebody out. But yeah, prepare for hard times before the hard times arrive. Before we have snow. Before winter, prepare. Before we have a heat wave in the summer, prepare for it. Not 2 days before it, not the day of, but now. Prepare now for later. It's so simple. But every year we have people that freak out last minute and hoard. And it's funny because they say all preppers are the bad guys because they're taking all the food. The food I buy is a little extra here and there, but it's every week. It's like investing. I don't invest my whole paycheck every week into, my 401k. I invest a little bit of it, just in case the world doesn't go to shit. I want to have a backup. I don't invest all at once. I invest a little bit. You imagine if everybody just started emergency, putting in their 401k? They say, oh, it's all their fault. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's the people that buy last minute, whether that's you or not. If it is you, just don't be that guy. Don't be that woman. Be the person that already has a plan of action, that already has things written down on paper that you can visually see, a checklist of I got that, and then you write down how am I going to deal with that, have a vision board, whatever you need, but visualize what you need to do and how you're going to get there. And then at the top right, while you're doing it, it might help you, I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing this for my loved ones, I'm doing this for myself, whoever, whatever. But you have to write down how you're getting there. Break every step down. One step could be a simple 4 or 5 word sentence, but it might be 5 or 6 pages on how you're getting there. That's fine. That's great. Break it down as much as possible and have a, checklist, cross it out. I did this, and just keep track of it. And you'll see your progress, slowly improve. And it takes time, but it makes you feel really good. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody out there think about life a little different. I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Talk to you later.